Good morning and welcome to another episode of Pep's Corner. Today we will continue our book, Walk to Moons. We will be reading the last, boys and girls, the last and final chapter of our book, Walk to Moons. Our focus and purpose for the reading today has been posted on the screen. Again, our focus is our purpose for reading. So make sure you have your book in hand and are actively following along and reading. Remember to reread a second time so you are coming to shared reading fully prepared for discussion. Let's begin. Chapter 44, which can be found on pages 260 to 266. Baybanks. We're back in Baybanks now. My father and I are living on our farm again, and Gramps is living with us. Gramps is buried in the Aspen Grove where she and Gramps were married. We miss our gooseberry every single day. Lately, I've been wondering if there might be something hidden behind the fireplace, but because just as the fireplace was behind the plaster wall, my mother's story was behind Phoebe's. I think there was a third story behind Phoebe's and my mother's, and that was about Gram and Gramps. Oh, on the day after Gram was buried, her friend Gloria, the one Gram thought was so much like Phoebe, and the one who had a hankering for Gramps, came to visit Gramps. They sat on our porch while Gramps talked about Gram for 4 hours straight. Gloria asked if we had any aspirin. She had a grand headache. We haven't seen her since. I wrote to Tom Fleet, the boy who helped Gram when the snake took a snack out of her leg. I told him that Gram made it back to Baybanks, but unfortunately she came in a coffin. I described the Aspen Grove where she was buried and told him about the river nearby. He wrote back saying that he was sorry about Gram and maybe he would come and visit that Aspen Grove someday. Then he asked, "Is your riverbank private property?" Gramps is giving me more driving lessons in the pickup truck. We practice over Gramps' old farm, where the new owner lets us clonk around in the dirt roads. With us rides Gramps' new beagle puppy, which he named Hooza Hooza. Gramps pets the puppy and smokes his pipe as I drive, and we both play the moccasin game. It's a game we made up on our way back from Idaho. We take turns pretending we are walking in someone else's moccasins. If we were walking in Peebee's moccasins, I would be jealous of a new brother dropping out of the sky. If I were in Graham's moccasins right this minute, I would want to cool my feet in that river over there. If I were walking in Ben's moccasins, I would miss Salamanca Hill. On and on we go. We walk in everybody's moccasins, and we have discovered some interesting things that way. One day I realized that our whole trip out to Lewiston had been a gift from Gram and Gramps to me. They were giving me a chance to walk in my mother's moccasins to see what she had seen and feel what she might have felt on our last trip. I also realized that there were lots of reasons why my father didn't take me to Idaho when he got the news of her death. He was too grief-stricken, and he was trying to spare me. Only later did he understand that I had to go see it for myself. And he was right about one thing, though. We didn't need to bring her body back because she is in the trees, the barn, the fields. Gramps is different. He needs Gram right here. He needs to walk out to that Aspen Grove to see his gooseberry. One afternoon, after we had been talking about Prometheus stealing fire from the sun to give to man, and about Pandora opening up the forbidden box with all the evils of the world in it, Gramps said that those myths evolved because people needed a way to explain where fire came from and why there was evil in the world. That made me think of Phoebe and the lunatic. And I said if we were walking in Phoebe's moccasins, I would have to believe in a lunatic and an axe-wielding Mrs. Cadaver to explain why Mother's disappearance. Phoebe and her family helped me, I think. They helped me to think about and understand my own mother. Phoebe's tales were like my fishing in the air. For a while, I needed to believe that my mother was not dead and that she would come back. I still fish in the air sometimes. It seems to me that we can't explain all the truly awful things in the world, like war and murder and brain tumors, and we can fix these things, so we look at the frightening things that are closer to us, and we magnify them until they burst open. Inside is something that we can manage, something that isn't as awful as it had first seemed, it is a relief to discover that although there might be an axe murderer and kidnappers in the world, most people seem a lot like us, sometimes afraid and sometimes brave, sometimes cruel and sometimes kind. I decided that bravery is looking Pandora's box full in the eyes as best you can, and then turning to the other box, the one with the smooth